Max Verstappen's race in Mexico wasn't just fast, it was frightening. From 5th on the grid to 3rd at the flag, on a strategy so bold it defied logic. When Mekies engineers studied the data, they found something impossible: tire life, pace, and thermal balance no other driver could replicate. What Verstappen did inside that RB21 wasn't human, it was a lesson in controlled chaos. The Red Bull RB21 had been unpredictable all weekend. On Friday, it bounced through corners like a nervous animal. On Saturday, Verstappen's radio messages were curt and direct: "Rear grip's not there, mate." But if there's one thing the Dutchman has learned, it's that perfection isn't necessary, only control is. He can live with a nervous car, he can live without the fastest setup, but what he cannot accept is limitation. He'd told the team the night before, "We'll find a way." We always do. It wasn't arrogance, it was prophecy. As the lights went out, chaos erupted. Norris launched left, Leclerc swung right, Hamilton dived inside. Verstappen, boxed in, had milliseconds to react. Turn 1 at Mexico is a lottery, every driver rolling dice at over 200 miles per hour. Contact. Dust. Brakes locking. The Red Bull jolted sideways, all 4 wheels leaving the asphalt. Somehow, through instinct alone, Verstappen caught it, countersteer, throttle, balance, the kind of save that separates champions from everyone else. When the smoke cleared, the RB21 had survived. Not just survived, gained a position. "Nice recovery," came the voice on the radio. "Yeah," Verstappen replied, calm as ever, "let's get on with it." For the next 5 laps, the Dutchman settled in 4th place. The telemetry looked steady, but the truth was more complicated. The RB21 was overheating its hybrid system, fighting to stay cool in the thin air. Tire degradation was already creeping up. Yet Verstappen wasn't fazed. His style is built for adaptation: shorter braking distances, smoother throttle, less steering angle. Everything he does behind the wheel looks minimal, almost effortless. But that effortlessness is the mask of calculation. Every lap, every corner, he's teaching the car how to survive. By lap 10, Red Bull's race engineers had realized something: Verstappen's tire degradation was nearly 30% lower than simulation predicted. That's not normal. That's not even explainable. He was driving faster, longer, cleaner than the car should allow. "He's doing things the model doesn't predict," said a voice over the Red Bull intercom. It was Laurent Mekies, the team's performance director, watching real-time telemetry scroll across his screen in disbelief. "He's driving in perfect temperature balance. It's impossible." But that's what Verstappen does. He breaks the boundaries of what the data says is real. While the others, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, began to burn through their soft tires, Verstappen was playing chess. Each lap, he lifted off early, coasted longer, harvested more energy. It was invisible to the crowd, but obvious to the experts. He wasn't fighting the race, he was rewriting it. "This is what he does best," said Brundle on Sky Sports. "When the car's not perfect, that's when he's most dangerous." The problem started long before the lights went out. Red Bull had arrived in Mexico expecting dominance. History had told them this was Verstappen's circuit. 3 wins in the past 5 years. Unbeatable pace through the high-speed S's. But this time, something wasn't right. The RB21 looked nervous. Through Friday's practice sessions, Max's radio was filled with short, clipped messages: rear unstable, front bite inconsistent. Engineers scrambled through setup changes, springs, ride height, aero balance. Nothing worked. The thinner air at over 2,000 meters was killing their downforce, and worse, their cooling efficiency. The car wasn't breathing. By Saturday morning, the team knew they were in trouble. The telemetry didn't lie. Red Bull were losing 0.2 per sector in the slow corners, and tire degradation was brutal. When Verstappen stepped out of the garage after qualifying 5th, there was no frustration on his face, only calculation. He'd seen this story before. "We're not where we want to be," he told Sky calmly, "but I know what we can do on Sunday." To anyone else, that would sound like false confidence. To Max Verstappen, it was simply fact. The overnight data review confirmed the scale of the challenge. Ferrari had the straight-line speed, McLaren had the balance, and Red Bull had a car that looked allergic to heat. The cooling ducts were too small, the hybrid system was running dangerously hot, and any push too early in the race would cook the rear tires. That's why the decision was made: Verstappen would go against the field. While others started on softs, he'd gamble on mediums. It was a daring call, slower off the line, but more durable when the chaos began. "It's a risk," said Mekies, "but if anyone can manage it, it's Max." And manage it he did. From the very first laps, Verstappen wasn't racing others, he was racing thermodynamics. He drove like an engineer wearing a helmet. Brake temperatures, tire pressures, hybrid harvesting, all balanced within millimeters of disaster. The RB21's telemetry showed something that stunned Red Bull's garage. His inputs weren't just smooth, they were predictive. When the car's rear started to slide through turn 6, Verstappen's throttle lifted before the slip angle spiked on the data. When his brake temps hit the danger zone, he adjusted bias and recovered stability within seconds. The temperatures fell back into range. It was mechanical intuition at the highest level. "He's managing systems manually that we normally need software for," said one engineer, half joking, half serious. "He's the control unit." The Ferrari and McLaren drivers were pushing hard, fighting the balance, but Verstappen was gliding. Not slower, just smoother. His lap times were deceptively steady, a rhythm that didn't look spectacular on paper, but was quietly building the foundation of his race. "He's not chasing glory," said Croft on Sky Sports. "He's calculating." By lap 15, the plan was already working. Norris' soft tires began to fall off. Leclerc was struggling for traction. Hamilton's Ferrari was losing rear grip. Verstappen, on the other hand, was in total control. The gap to the leader's stable, his tire temperatures consistent, his pace improving. "He's playing the long game," Mekies told the pit wall. "This is exactly what we wanted." Mexico City is a place where cars overheat and courage evaporates. The air is thin, the track slippery, and the temperatures merciless. For most, it's a survival test. For Max Verstappen, it's a science experiment. From the cockpit, the Dutchman was already thinking like a strategist, not a driver. Every lap was an equation: airflow, brake temperature, tire surface, energy recovery. And somehow, even when the numbers looked impossible, he made them work. By lap 20, Red Bull's race engineers were already stunned. Verstappen was running on the same set of medium tires he'd started with, and the degradation was almost non-existent. In telemetry, the tire wear graph was flat. No one had ever seen that at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, not with this car, not in this heat. "He's managing energy through his throttle traces," said Laurent Mekies, eyes fixed on the data feed. "He's cooling the rears by instinct." What he meant was extraordinary. Verstappen wasn't just driving the car, he was micromanaging its life systems. When the brake temperatures hit critical range, he shifted bias forward by 2 clicks, cooling the rear discs without losing stopping power. When the power unit's hybrid system began to overheat in the thin air, he changed his throttle modulation to extend energy recovery cycles by a fraction of a second, invisible to the naked eye, but measurable in Red Bull's data. The engineers had simulations for this, yes, but Verstappen was doing it faster, cleaner, and more precisely than any algorithm. By lap 30, his lap times were still within a tenth of his qualifying pace. The radio was calm. "Everything good, mate?" asked his race engineer. "All fine," Verstappen replied. "Tires still there. Let's keep going." The team hadn't planned for him to stay out this long, yet his mediums were performing like new. The longer he stayed out, the more the others panicked. Ferrari and McLaren were already into their second stint, soft tires blistering, lap times falling. Verstappen was still on the originals. "He's just not degrading," said Brundle on Sky Sports. "That's not supposed to be possible." When Red Bull finally called him in on lap 41, they did so with disbelief. box now," came the message. Verstappen acknowledged calmly, no urgency, no noise. The pit stop was flawless, 2.6 seconds. He rolled out onto the asphalt with fresh softs, and at that exact moment, the race changed. The world had seen him survive, now, it was time to see him hunt. With 30 laps remaining, Verstappen unleashed a pace that defied reason. "He's half a second faster than anyone on track," said Mekies, almost whispering. The RB21, the car that had looked sluggish, unstable, and overheating on Friday, was now slicing through the Mexican air like it had been reborn. The tires, preheated to perfection, came alive instantly. His braking points shifted 10 meters later. His throttle inputs became smoother. The energy deployment was timed to perfection. "He's syncing ERS delivery with DRS activation perfectly," said one Red Bull data engineer, watching his screens. "That's not luck. That's design." Verstappen was now driving in a rhythm that engineers call flow lock, the state where every corner feels like one continuous motion. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, all one breath. He wasn't forcing the car, he was sculpting its limits. The more the RB21 wanted to fight, the more he made it obey. And that's what made it terrifying. "He's doing this without overdriving," said Croft on commentary. "This isn't desperation, it's domination." By lap 50, Verstappen's pace on the softs was 1 full second faster than Leclerc's Ferrari, even with the same fuel load. "It's like he's found an extra gear," said one of Red Bull's engineers. But it wasn't magic, it was feel. Verstappen had discovered the RB21's perfect thermal window through intuition, not calculation. His braking technique, earlier initial pressure, gentler release, was keeping tire temperatures balanced within a 5-degree margin. His corner exits were so precise that the car's energy recovery system remained stable, harvesting just enough charge to deploy full power down every straight. Inside the garage, Laurent Mekies couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Look at this," he said, pointing to the data overlay. Verstappen's tire wear curve was not only flat, it was improving. His left rear, the one that should have been dead from Mexico's long right-handers, was regenerating grip. "He's distributing load manually," said Mekies. "That's insane." It was the kind of driving that data scientists can't simulate and engineers can't teach. Pure, instinctive mechanical empathy. And it wasn't just speed, it was restraint. Verstappen never took unnecessary risks, never locked up, never overheated the engine chasing another car. His style was the perfect paradox, aggression through control. He knew exactly where to attack and where to wait. When others panic, Verstappen calculates. When others lose faith in their car, he makes it better. By the closing laps, the Red Bull RB21 had become an extension of its driver, efficient, lethal, and utterly obedient. "He's not driving a car anymore," said Brundle. "He's driving a result."